Dr. Miller with another video in this series on set and repetition strategies, set and repetition schemes, however you want to talk about it. I've made 3 so far. This is the 4th one. This is more of a way of aligning sets in light of the repetitions. Talking about contrast set or contrast sets. Okay, and not to be confused with a contrast rep, which is like accentuating the eccentric. So when you do a box jump, holding some dumbbells and then jumping without them. So you lower with the dumbbells, but then when you jump, you don't have them anymore. You drop them. Be sure, by the way, to like this video after taking a look at it. Leave a comment if you have any questions. Subscribe to my channel. There's a whole bunch of videos going up. A whole bunch being 5 to 7 a week in the field of exercise, sports science, nutrition science currently, and even some some advice if you're a student in college. So I'm just talking about whatever I feel like in this field, and hopefully you're finding the videos valuable. So let's talk about this contrast set structure. Why would you do it? Who cares? Well, thinking about any of these set and rep configurations, the size principal motor recruitment, Henneman size principal motor recruitment is always something to consider, like why we're doing this. And so let's look at a couple ways that this might look. All right. Now I know this starts over at 3 to 4. That's not. I should have put 1 and 2 here. So if you see that, that should be 1 and 2 again. So it's like 2 different examples of 3 rounds of each one of these. So one workout you might do 75-80 and then 80-90. So this workout could be a little bit more hypertrophy / strength driven. So getting those ugly words like functional hypertrophy and those type of things. You're just trying to get some volume in, but also build some strength. And here, this is more of a strength workout. So your average work percentage here, I know this could be weighted, but it'd be roughly 85%, probably a little bit lower than that because this is 3 and this is 1 to 2 reps. But you're going back and forth is the point between 2 intensities. You could have a greater disparity on this one, 80 and 70. Okay, why do something like that? What value does this contrast set configuration have? I use these, especially with the higher percentages and sometimes even hypertrophy as well. Well, when we think about size principal motor recruitment, let's say in this hypertrophy / strength cycle, the maximum work, the 80 to 4, will climb the size principal motor recruitment, get the bigger fibers through the maximal work. Where this is about 3 to 4 to fail. You won't fatigue the fibers completely, nor do you want to, but you might have some sort of neurological priming that occurs, what we used to call post-activation potentiation. Now we have post-activation and performance enhancement, which probably contains post-activation potentiation to some degree, or a warm-up effect, or whatever it may be. So the 80% moved as quickly as possible is going to enhance the 75% moved at 5 repetitions, so the bar velocity could increase. Okay, we see this in what was termed the classic post-activation potentiation effect is doing the set of like 80 at 3 and then doing some box jumps or something like that, or just straight vertical jumps. You'll jump higher after a 2 to 4 minute rest than you would without the squat. So this set enhances this one. Okay, so I could flop these if I wanted to, but this one could also enhance this one through the warm-up effect. Okay, so this is kind of a cycling, if you will, neurological enhancement for this set. This set's warming up this set. This one is enhanced and round we go. Okay. Now, if this was, I extended the to more of a hypertrophy and I lowered the percentage on these, this could be a way to accumulate volume with a little more intensity mingled. And it sounds kind of weird, but if you did sets at 75% and sets at 65%, you could get a lot more reps at that 65 set. But the 75 is going to provide more intensity along with that 65. Now, I'm going to be honest, I've never done anything with that structured. I've done drop sets, but I haven't done 3 rounds of something like that. But you could have a goal for a repetition goal if you're working off of repetitions per set to do something like that. If you're in hypertrophy, something like this could also work out, but now you're interested in the rounds, at how many total sets are accomplished, perhaps. Okay, I think contrast sets fit a little bit better when it comes to strength work because it allows you to hit higher percentages without crushing the athlete. And doing 90% 5 by 1 is great, but the 80% allows for you to get more volume in that session with still somewhat of a heavier load, and you get more practice with the load, right, without crushing the athlete. So, you get 3 rounds of that. That's a pretty good workout, 3 rounds of 80 and 90. That's a fair amount of volume at a fairly high average intensity. Okay, so number one, why do this? Well, you get this work set warm-up type of effect, whether that's post-activation potentiation or just the warm-up from doing the lighter percentage. And these 2 sets build on each other. One more neuro to the enhancement of bar velocity, one more of a warm-up effect to the neuro. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. How these 2 things are. Now, one thing I do want to mention is be careful not to go to failure when you're doing this for strength work. This is like it's akin to wave training, of course, but we're not trying to wave up to something even higher. We're just going to stay in this little cycle here. But these 2 sets tend to feed off each other. You get better quality work. It's, again, the neuro side, I don't know. I'm going to say post-activation potentiation does contribute, and you will see some bar velocity changes. It could be just perception too, right? The athlete will just feel like the bar is lighter because it is, and so he or she may move the bar faster just because of the complete neural drive, right? The desire to move it feels better on them. I'm thinking like a back squat or even a bench. They can drive the bar better. They feel better. Okay, so don't negate that psychological portion when it comes to increasing rate coding, perhaps. Okay, so the total neural drive. So it's a nice enhancement of both of these, still getting some nice volume in rather than just do a flat load. And number one, though, here is one of the things I tend to see, and it plays into what I just talked about, the advantage of a contrast set configuration is engagement. This looks a lot more fun. And you think, well, who cares about fun? Well, if you've trained at all for any length of time, especially in strength training, fun is a big deal. Like if you don't want to crawl into that bar that's 90% or 87.5 or whatever it is, if you don't want to do it, it's not going to be a good set. Even if you're like, I'm going to try really hard on the concentric side, well, it's not fun. So if you come in and you know like you're doing flat sets all the time, okay, this is a way of saying, okay, I want to average roughly 85% for this workout. I'm going to go high and low and bracket that 85 with a high and low type of work. If this neurological effect does occur and the warm-up effect does occur and they feed off one another, it's only going to make it even better. But mentally, this looks like a lot more fun. Again, that sounds maybe a little strange to say, but over the years of coaching, I can tell you that is a big deal. And those who have trained for a long period of time, engagement with the program is huge. Programs oftentimes are at the heart of it's just progressive overload, but how you get that progressive overload done is important. How you keep the athletes engaged, and I keep wording the athletes here, but anybody that's doing any strength training, how you keep engaged with the program is a very important factor. It's kind of like dieting. You can eat the same food over and over again. Some people can do that, but if you don't have some variety in your diet, it makes it really boring, and it makes food boring, and it makes following a diet hard. If you know you're going to do a cycle or two of contrast set configurations for some heavy compound lifts, that you're going to go heavy, it could be a way of really getting excited about the session, and that could drive a better session because better engaged session means more neuro activity that's involved with the session. So, you might see just climbing up in the size principle of neural recruitment just because of the desire. Yeah, that's why we see over and over again, the intent to move quickly is so important. It's the intent, okay? The intent is a big deal. And if the intent is under motivated, then you can expect the intent isn't really maximal. All right. So if you need to, again, there are lots of ways to do it. The disparities, I usually keep them a little bit tighter than this, not always, but we might do 90 and 85 or 90 and 82.5. Or 92.5, which would be one rep. That's a really heavy rep. And then dropping down to 82.5, right? That's a way to get some heavy volume in, again, without crushing the athlete. And so I still get my 3x1, 92.5, but the athlete was more engaged with the program. And this 80% work was still an added benefit in terms of volume under some intensity that will matter. And you had higher bar velocities. So let me know what you think. If you've tried this configuration before, leave it in the comments, and maybe we can just discuss how maybe you've used it differently, perhaps. This is, again, this has a lot of creativity. This type of, what I'm seeing is this. The contrast set structure has the ability to, like any programming, to apply some creativity to it. You could even just get rid of the percentages and use RPE, right? That could be a way of doing this perhaps with Olympic style lifting, which I have done as well. Usually something like this, they'll wave up, but you could do this in Olympic style lifting as well. Absolutely. All right. That's it for now.